Thank you for listening to the Clive Barker Podcast, the only podcast dedicated to the imagination of Clive Barker. Episode 166 is a news episode where we talk about Hellraiser Judgement, a new anthology edition featuring a rare Clive Barker story, updates from the Clive Barker archive, and updates from us. This episode is brought to you by Don Bertram's Celebrate Imagination. Don Bertram is a friend of the show, and his Celebrate Imagination shop is dedicated to benefiting the Arts and Medicine program at Texas Children's Cancer Center. Up to 50% of the proceeds will support the program where artist Don Bertram volunteers monthly. So please join us in donating to the program at Texas Children's Cancer Center. There's a link in the show notes and on the main website at clivebarkercast.com. That will take you where you need to go to get one of his prints or art books and help out this wonderful program. Any friend of Clive Barker's is a friend of ours, and Don Bertram is a friend of ours anyway, and we thank him for his continuing support. Okay, well, welcome. This is episode 166 of the Clive Barker Podcast. This one is a news episode. I'm Ryan.
And I'm Joe.
And I'm Rob.
Hey. So
I hope everybody's good.
Yeah. This one is escaped me. It was from like the 18th of January, and I don't know how I missed it. But there's going to be a new book with the short story Pigeon and Teresa, which is one of my favorites, and it's one of the rarest stories. It's really hard to get a hold of. I think previously you could only find it in the Time Out London book of short stories.
Yeah, this is one of the stories I haven't read yet, so I don't know anything about this. So if you could give us a little insight on what the story's about.
Yeah, I have no idea. I've not read it either.
Pigeon and Teresa are like a turtle and a canary.
Oh, and cool. Okay.
So there's this guy. He has these pets, and the for some reason, the angels are supposed to assassinate this person, and they show up, and because these angels show up, somehow the turtle and the pigeon become self-aware, sentient, talking creatures.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And then the angel realized that it made a mistake, and it has to hunt them down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's
that sounds pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Very Clive Barker.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess it takes place in London.
I think so.
Because it came out in the book of London short stories from Time Out. So I guess it's a new book that's coming out from Cemetery Dance. Oh wait, no, Cemetery Dance Publications was the previous time this story was in print, and now SST Publications is announcing their new anthology, Shining in the Dark. Right.
So it should be a really cool cover, from what we've seen of SST Publications.
Yeah, it says here, this incredible collection is to celebrate 20 years of the #1 Stephen King news website, Legia's Library, and features Stephen King, Clive Barker, Stuart Onan, John Ajvide Lindqvist, Jack Ketchum, who passed away recently, Ramsey Campbell, Brian Keene, and many others. So it'll have The Blue Air Compressor by Stephen King, The Net by Jack Ketchum and P.D. Kachek, The Novel of the Holocaust by Stuart Onan, Eliana by Bev Vincent, Pigeon and Teresa by Clive Barker, and then a bunch of other stories. So it's going to be a signed, limited hardcover edition, limited to 350 signed and numbered copies, personally signed by the editor, an artist, on a specially designed full-color signature page. It says here, extremely limited, one-time printing. Only 350 copies will be available worldwide.
Always limited.
That sounds expensive.
That sounds expensive.
That's
Shining in the Dark.
I really recommend Pigeon and Teresa. I don't know anything about any of those other stories, but
well, there is. It's not going to be that expensive. I just opened up the website. It says it's £39.95, which is not exactly the same in dollars, but
so probably like $55 or something like that.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Let me try do the conversion real quick. It's $56. So not as expensive as I thought it was going to be at first. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, it sounded like 500 or something from the
Yep.
description.
Some of those aren't they?
Yeah.
Right. So that's cool. That's cool. SST Publications, as you may remember, also published other books like some books by Barbie Wilde, right? And other books by Paul King.
Peter Atkins.
Yeah. So that's always good.
Yes. So, and then in Hellraiser news, we have we haven't done a news episode in quite a while, so forgive us. We're going back a ways, but since we last talked about this stuff, there's been a Hellraiser Judgement trailer, cover art, a release date, and it just showed up on Amazon.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it seems like it may be shipping earlier than we thought, right?
Yeah.
I could get mine. Says I could get my copy this Tuesday. I'm not. I'm really confused on that.
And the ones that the one that's shipping to you, Jose, says February 1st through 2nd. So that's
I'm looking forward.
Yeah,
I'm getting ready for it. I'm stoked.
Yeah.
I'm pumped.
Yeah, I think once we know for sure that it's arriving, we can move that up in the calendar of what we're gonna do as far as like our audio commentary.
Yeah. Did you guys see the trailer then?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There was things that I really was impressed with are like I thought Paul Taylor looked very good as Pinhead actually, and I like his makeup and I like the visual side of things. It looked really good. I'm not really sure about the characters. They don't really. I'm not really sold on them being
the human characters, right?
Yeah, I'm not sold on them being like these hard, bold detectives. They look really, unless they're rookies. Maybe they're rookies in the story or something.
They wandered off of a CW TV show.
Yeah, that's a good.
They kind of look really, really young.
Yes, they do. It's weird, isn't it? It seems like they don't fit in there with all the other stuff that you see.
I think I saw the trailer, and I think I'm very excited about the visual aspect of the movie, but I'm not. Again, I'm also not entirely sold on the story. It seems like I may have seen something like this before with Inferno, which something you brought it up a couple of times, Ryan, in conversation about this movie. It's like, the whole hard-boiled detective thing, I don't think it really suits Hellraiser that well.
Yeah.
Because when the perpetrator is like a supernatural entity, it's like it's not as interesting as a mystery goes, because it's just you can't predict what's going to happen, right? I mean, it's visually it's really, really exciting.
If they find out they've been in hell the whole time and that they were really investigating their own sins, I'm gonna be mad.
Yeah.
So I was actually looking at the trailer just now as we were talking, and Paul T. Taylor looks surprisingly good as Pinhead. And the only thing I'm not sold on is that chest plate that they made for this new version of Pinhead, where you can see like these bones and stuff. It's like,
somebody said it looked like somebody said it looked like bacon or something.
Yeah, it definitely seems like a little bit of a shortcut. Which is
in a way, though. That was kind of like what I read in the interview. Is like that. If you look at the shape of it, it's like it looks like a Leviathan kind of nod.
Yeah.
To that, the way they did the shape of it, but I don't know. It's very strange. Kind of seeing it look like I guess it's kind of where its heart is.
It's nice to see Stitch come back.
Those
right. I think
the Cenobite Stitch and Chatter and all that. So I'm not too sold on the new characters that Gary Tunnicliffe created, though, like the guy with the gas mask and the big guy with the butcher guy with the apron.
The auditor?
The big butcher guy with the apron.
Yes, right.
Kind of reminds me of Leatherface, maybe.
Yeah, he looks more like he should be in like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre sequel or something. I don't know.
That was kind of cool, though. It was like the back of it, his back, and that guy did shoot out of it. That did kind of startle me. I was like, well, that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. or more like an anime kind of character to me, like the big guy. Yeah.
We also, I think we saw, it seems like it's maybe a Gary Tunnicliffe sort of signature move. We got to see a chain exploding out of the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think, didn't that happen in Deader?
That did happen in Deader, when Winter gets chained up and you see all these chains come out of the walls and stuff. So pretty cool.
Previously in Hellraiser, the chains came out of the off-screen, right? You just don't see where they're coming from, and then
they're just coming from the top, from the ceiling.
Yeah.
So.
And in Hellraiser 3, they show them kind of floating in air, like they just, like the other end of them is disappearing somewhere into another dimension or something.
Yeah, they're like snakes. Yeah. So interesting comparison that someone made was that not only was this new cover for Hellraiser Judgement something we hadn't seen before, and thank goodness it wasn't that other poster that we keep seeing about Hellraiser Judgement, which looked like just a basic cell phone pic full of filters that said, Hebel 6 Evil.
Yeah.
But the yellowish kind of tone with Pinhead looking up to the side. So they created this cover that has Pinhead just kind of on the side, a profile shot of Pinhead looking kind of down. Yeah. And someone showed us on Facebook that it seems to be a staple of Blu-ray covers these days. Yeah. Because there's one for Lincoln, where Lincoln... Spielberg's Lincoln.
Derek Neal showed that.
Yeah, and there's another one with the Alien.
Yeah.
So from the Alien series, and it's like, they're really very, very similar in terms of design and color scheme and all that, and position. So wow.
Yeah. And somebody mentioned that he was looking down like he was sad Pinhead.
Yeah. So, hey, at least, we have a cover. We have a shipping date. So we may be able to make that commentary track sooner than we thought.
And there's been obviously nothing from the Weinstein Company as far as promotion or talking of release dates. I mean, all of a sudden, Lionsgate just said, hey, here, Amazon, So...
Yeah.
That was something also people have been speculating that maybe Lionsgate owns the rights to Hellraiser, and I think it seems more likely that they have distribution rights, because it was a way to make a quick buck for the Weinstein Company to just say, hey, why don't you guys deal with this? Well, you can pay us some money and you can deal with all the distribution and stuff.
Because they obviously need some money right now.
Yeah.
They got a lot more on their plate right now.
About that, all I know is that the only people who are actually promoting this movie actively seem to be Paul T. Taylor and Gary Tunnicliffe. And, they I wouldn't say leak, but they send some pictures of the movie to websites like Bloody Disgusting and other websites like that. And that's basically the whole promotion for the movie has been just these articles saying, hey, look, new photos from the upcoming Hellraiser Judgement. Here you are. You can take a look at them. And some fans have been positive about it. Other fans have been less than happy, less than thrilled about it. But
it's
another.
Go ahead.
I was going to say another exciting thing is that it seems that Paul T. Taylor will be at Texas Frightmare Weekend.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he just announced that on his page.
Yeah, because at first he was announcing that he needed to sell his Texas Frightmare Weekend pass for the same price that he bought it. And then he's like, because I may not need it after all. And it's like, people were commenting as like, oh, so are you going to be a guest? And, so apparently, yes, he's going to be a guest, which is going to make for an interesting, meeting of pinheads, I guess, because Doug Bradley's going to be there. Now Paul T. Taylor is going to be there promoting his new Hellraiser Judgement, I guess. So interesting to see how the fans are going to split between going towards Doug Bradley and Paul T. Taylor. Maybe they'll check out both.
Yeah, I think so. I think there's been a lot more positive about this movie than any other Hellraiser sequel in a long time, as far as fan reactions and stuff. I think part of it is that Paul T. Taylor is right there with us, in the comments on Facebook.
Yeah. Interacting with the fans and
showing and they also seem to have gone a little bit the extra distance for this version of Pinhead that they did not go for Hellraiser Revelations, right?
Yeah.
Because the other Hellraiser Revelations, I think the Pinhead was a little miscast. The makeup wasn't that good. There was no excitement about it. There was no anticipation. There was no promotion. We had no idea it was going to be the Pinhead until very, 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 very close to the movie coming out. And then there was that other pseudo Pinhead creature that didn't do the movie any favors. Yeah. And for this one, it seems like they actually tried to catch kind of a certain regal elegance to Pinhead, even though it's not Doug Bradley, it's Paul T. Taylor. Hey, the makeup looks much better.
Yeah. Yeah, and someone, I guess, in a way has been promoting this movie because Bloody Disgusting, when the trailer came out, they're like, this is a Bloody Disgusting exclusive. So I don't know who reached out to them, whether it was somebody from Lionsgate or
I think it's Gary Tunnicliffe.
Yeah, that could be.
He must have. Yeah.
But yeah, so they had that exclusive, and then they said exclusive new photos from the set of Hellraiser Judgement. So somebody reached out to them specifically to promote this. So that's something. I mean, it's probably not any producers, I guess, but.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Also, I wanted to let some of the fans were asking about the UK release of the film. There is no release date for that. It all depends on the how the film is received in the States. Will determine if it gets filmed.
Spotty history for Hellraiser sequels in Europe, right? I mean, I think a lot of them didn't come out on DVD.
Well, yeah. I mean, for example, the third Hellraiser never really came out in the UK that I can remember, and not even in Portugal, which is my home country. And then 5 didn't come out either. And then 6 and 7, I think they did come out in Portugal, so they came out in several countries in Europe. But then 8, I don't think came out anywhere. Maybe in a few countries in Europe, like the Netherlands or something. Netherlands usually gets a lot of good releases.
Surprisingly, Revelations did come out in the UK. I saw that. I did.
Did it?
Yes, it did. I was looking it up on for a fan on the Amazon UK.
Yeah. That's not positive.
I know. I wasn't.
Yeah, and the third one I think came out in the UK as well in Blu-ray. I think. But hey, one of the actresses in Hellraiser Judgment, her name is Helena Grace Donald. She actually released an image of herself chained, having a face-to-face with Pinhead. So, and then she claimed that she almost fainted during the filming of this scene. The chains and Paul Taylor held me up. So,
wow,
that's cool.
Wow,
that's cool.
Okay.
Yep, you'll find that in Helena Grace Donald. That's an actress on Facebook.
The atmosphere is a lot different. I mean, around the release of this movie from Hellraiser Revelations. I remember during Revelations, all there was dread, right? I mean, it's like their budget is like $250,000. They're only making this sequel so that they can retain the rights, and nobody was showing anything about the movie, right? I don't even remember if we saw Pinhead or anything ahead of time.
No, we didn't.
Yeah.
It was like after it had been shot. Well, they're doing all that with Judgment too, shooting it and making, it's a film that, it's being made to, I guess, keep the rights to the franchise.
Yeah, that's true too. But
they have a very small budget, but the thing here is they have a very, I think, a director who is a bit more passionate. I don't want to say that about Victor Garcia. I think here's a director who's a bit more into the Hellraiser mythos.
Yeah.
And, he maybe prepared a little bit better for this than maybe Victor Garcia had the chance to do.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a better way of saying
for Revelations, that. Right?
I mean, Victor Garcia is talented. I've seen some of his films, and they are, good.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's coming out in February, so this is the month of Hellraiser Judgment, and I guess we will be able to maybe in a couple of episodes we'll be talking about this movie.
Yeah, and Hellraiser: The Toll will also be coming out in February.
Oh yeah,
True.
Really looking forward to that.
Miller. It's Mark Miller's book, so we'll see what new things come out in that book as well for Mark Miller. So,
and the Clive Barker Archive Gallery they've announced that they're going to be showing something new every day in January, and they haven't disappointed. There's been a lot of really cool stuff that they have pictures of. One of the things, this is Phil and Sarah's site, the Clive Barker Archive, and one of the things that they had on there was a PlayStation 3 demo disc from the UK that had a demo of Jericho. But I don't remember it ever having a demo. I thought it was all, just, you just buy the game. I know.
These things used to come out in magazines and stuff, promotional stuff. So, yes. I don't remember the demo coming out either, but at the time I didn't have an Xbox 360, so and I didn't have a computer that could play this Codemasters game, so I guess I kind of dropped the ball on that one. But I remember stuff like Undying coming out, for example, on PC game magazines and demos and stuff like that. So it's perfectly. But yeah, they've been putting a lot of stuff up, haven't they? I mean, you go to the CliveBarkerArchive.com/gallery, and you will see they have like a short time ago it was, I think, Rob, you covered this. It was a Hellraiser Bloodline
production
storyboard. With someone running away from the Chatter Beast. They've been putting out things that kind of fell through the sands of time, like. There was a sculpture from Clive Barker's design, a demon putting out his eyes, that came out in the 90s, I think.
Yeah. I have a T-shirt with that on it.
Right. They put up the box art for that, the vinyl model kit. There's pictures of promotional stuff for Galilee, a lot of manuscript pages written by Clive Barker. And, like you said, they got some stuff like that. They also have like a Forbidden Comics. What was it? What was that store called?
Forbidden Planet.
Forbidden Planet. Thank you. They put up a Nightbreed Forbidden Planet signing event flyer, where they said, "This is." I wish I could have been there. I wish I could have been a fly on the wall in this event, because it was Clive Barker, Murray Close, who did all the photography for the Nightbreed Chronicles.
Oh, that's
John Gilbert, Stephen Jones, who was the editor of the Hellraiser Chronicles and publicist. Les Edwards, the painter who painted that Nightbreed poster that ended up being the Cabal Cut cover. Mark Salisbury, Jeff Portis, Little John, and Simon Sacy. And they were all together in this event on September 29th of, I'm assuming, 1990. And stuff like that. I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff, like a prototype for the Razor Line first cut preview issue, where they were going to promote the new Marvel Razor Line universe that had Ecto Kid, Hokum and Hex,
Hyperkind.
I've never seen that. Was really cool.
Yeah. So the cover is slightly different, and Saint Sinner. The cover was slightly different. It was a prototype that they had. So they've been scanning and putting up a lot of stuff, which is really amazing if you're a Clive Barker fan.
Yeah. My only gripe with the Clive Barker archive is, I think, when you go to clivebarker.info, and they have, like, you can go on to clivebarker.info or clivebarker.info, or you can go to A Beautiful Moment, which is the children's version with Aberrat stuff. They should also have a link in there to the Clive Barker archive, I think.
That's a good suggestion. Hey, Phil and Sarah, if you guys are listening to this, can you put that on the opening of your Clive Barker Revelations? Because that would really help people get more traffic to your site.
Yeah, I think so.
I wish they'd make an omnibus of all those Clive Barker comics that he did. I don't know how far each I mean, they ended their series. I don't know. But I think it'd be kind of cool to have them all in one big collection.
Yeah, maybe one for Hellraiser and one for Nightbreed, and
no, these superheroes.
I see what you mean.
Like Echo Kid and Saint Sinner.
That would be pretty big. I mean, some of them were only like 8 issues, but some were, I think, 12.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Maybe they could break it up into different volumes.
Yeah. They didn't cross over. I don't think they ever had a chance to, but they probably would have liked to do that.
Yeah, he's trying to create a superhero universe.
Yeah.
So another cool thing that came out was, you remember Raven Banner, before the Raven Banner announcement that they were going to do Jacqueline S., the movie based on the story from the Books of Blood, there was a first attempt by Russell Charrington, the creator of the Cabal Cut and restoration director for the Cabal Cut. He tried making a test footage.
It was like a pitch to Raven Banner.
Right, and Clive Barker. And this was based on a script that he had written with Christian Francis at the time. So it finally came out on YouTube, and now you can watch it. And Rob, I think you made an article about it. So what did you guys think about it?
I was telling you before we started recording, I think it captures that kind of, definitely the mood of the story. The sexual kind of imagery is definitely there. The violent kind of, abrupt, when as she kills her victims is, there. I liked it. I just, it is, just a pitch to, try to. I think it does a good job of, I guess, hopefully getting possible producers to invest some money into the film. I'd like to see this turned into a movie.
I think
it's got great potential.
In that little scene, Hugh Ross was definitely the star.
Yeah.
His performance was amazing. I thought it was really good. And I think that scene is really cool. It's a cool scene from the short story, but it doesn't, that scene is kind of near the end, and it doesn't really tell the story of Jacqueline S. and in her journey. It's more like, now she's already kind of a drugged out prostitute who doesn't care if she lives or dies, and
that's not the way it started. Yeah. The story started off kind of.
Yeah. And I also think, I'm no expert, but I think we were talking about this earlier. I think that it would be better to pull away from the violence and let people imagine it instead of trying to show it, on a small budget.
Maybe just like I said, the sounds of somebody being. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
Or that you can see some little thing out of the corner of your eye that's disturbing, but not the whole,
Okay. Well, here's my take on it was, so for people who don't know, this is the story that came out in the Books of Blood, and it's the main character narrating this is a guy called Vassi, and he's the guy who's in love with this woman called Jacqueline, and Jacqueline is this kind of repressed woman, and she has a loveless marriage, and one day she's depressed, she's miserable, and she goes to the doctor, and she discovers in a rather dramatic scene that she has some powers over other people's flesh, and this revelation comes out in a very dramatic, bloody kind of way. That yeah. And and then what happens to her is that she's even though she's a woman that possesses all this power, she ends up falling victim to this objectification, and she becomes a prostitute, an object of desire. And except for Vassi, he's a guy who actually loves her for who she is. And in this scene that Russell Charrington shot back in 2015, I think. So this screen test is like 3 years old. He has Hugh Ross, who people might remember from Nightbreed playing Narcisse. He shows up here as the Jacqueline S.'s pimp of sorts, right?
I can't remember the character's name. I wish I could.
Yeah, it was a weird kind of name. It was just a one-word name, but I forgot the name of it. But yeah, he's in this test. He's showing like what was the sort of like the experience that Jacqueline provided to these Johns that would come over, and it was a pretty fatal and dramatic experience. In fact, I think that the pimp, every time he would take someone to Jacqueline's room, the price would basically be everything up to the shirt on your back. It's like everything you own, because you're not going to come out of there alive. So this is it. But yeah, I thought that it was a really interesting screen test, and again, yeah, he Ross played a great role. He even that his poise, his accent, his demeanor is just. He can go from playing Shakespeare to playing like a pimp, and it's no big deal for Hugh Ross. He can just do it. And the actress that played Jacqueline S, I forgot her name. Let me see if I can find that. But she did a great job. I think that the sets were a little limited for what Russell Charrington had to work with, which was basically almost no budget. But
he shot that one night.
It did seem like it kind of fit with the what you imagined from that scene.
It does, right?
Disgusting,
Yeah.
Dingy kind of room, a squalid room in an almost abandoned house.
Just a mattress on a floor,
and you can imagine what's on the mattress.
Yeah.
The makeup effects were done by Robbie Drake, who was an alumni from the Image Animation days. He was also a guy who played a Nightbreed creature in Nightbreed. He played that guy. He was in the suit for Vasti Moses, I think.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I think that was what Robbie Drake did, and so. It was pretty good. I mean, there wasn't a lot of special effects, and I'm going to disagree with some of what you guys said. I think the Jacqueline S movie, if it's going to be done properly, it's going to have to rely a lot on special effects and visuals.
That's not really disagreeing with. I'm just saying for this particular pitch.
Oh, yeah, right. I'm just talking about the pitch.
Yeah.
Right. To maintain that mystery, right? To maintain the mystery of what's going on.
When you go to the movie, yeah, sure, go for it.
Go for the whole.
Yeah. The whole shebang.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think that the sound design was cool. The noises of the flesh and the dripping of the blood were really good. So yeah, I would like to see it. I mean, back in the Raven Banner days, which seems to be either still in production or from what we were told, the rights are free again. The rights to the story, the option.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that is really true or not, but I'm going to assume it is because the person who told us that is involved with this. So. But
and Raven Banner haven't talked about this movie in 3-4 years now.
Yeah, and it was a Canadian company, and it was attached to direct this project was a director called Jovanka Vukovic. Yeah. She used to be editor-in-chief of Rue Morgue magazine, and she's made a couple of she made a short film, and then she made, I think, some other things. But
actually had the actress from Game of Thrones to play
Lena Headey. Yeah, Lena Headey. She was the one who plays Cersei, the queen, right?
Yeah. So, yes. And she was Sarah Connor on the Sarah Connor Chronicles on TV.
There you go. So it seems unclear that if that project is moving at all, and if not, then here's Russell Charrington's take on it, and maybe this will stir up the waters and get something going again.
I'm ready to see some Clive Barker movies come back out.
Me too. Damn it!
Want to see some? Oh God.
Yeah.
I know.
Stephen King seems to have had a reinsurgence after it, and the horrible version of The Dark Tower. But still, it's
I don't know what happened to Jacqueline S. It would but it seems like a real shame.
Yeah.
So some of the stuff, some of the stuff that was going to be on the real Clive Barker store, is on Tom Holland's Terror Time. So if you go to that website, right now you can find Hellraiser Anthology 1 and 2. So where the first anthology is a trade paperback, and Volume 2 anthology is the hardcover. So you can buy those there at their original price. Just a limited number.
Second volume's already sold out, and the first one's down to 4 copies. So just to let everybody know, the second one is gone.
And there's also a Hellraiser mini poster available there by Danielle Serra. Yeah. So it's cool stuff. It's art from the Hellraiser anthology.
I really like his style. He also did a cool Candyman poster of Daniel Robitaille and Helen. And I don't know if you could you buy that from the real Clive Barker store when it was up.
You could, I think.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
I'd love to have a copy of that.
And he's continuing to do work for that site. He's doing more posters for like Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah, that was also very good.
Yeah, and like I think Child's Play stuff with Chucky.
Oh yeah,
I think so.
I gotta watch Cult of Chucky. I just found out it was playing on TV and I DVR'd it, so now I want to watch it.
Oh, I've only ever seen the first two of those movies. I never went on beyond there.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
It gets really, really funny and entertaining for the last couple of installments.
Is the Cult of Chucky the last one they made? I know they made, or is that the Curse of Chucky? I think
the Cult was the one before last. I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And it's funny because you're talking about Tom Holland in the store, and one of my recent purchases was. Have you ever seen Stephen King's The Langoliers?
Oh yeah. That's a
I
TV
remember
movie.
when it came out, but I didn't see it. The monsters looked like little toilet brush or scrubbing bubbles, right?
It's an interesting thing, and I think Tom Holland is the guy who directed The Langoliers. I think.
Yeah.
Oh.
He directed Thinner. He directed what
Thinner
else?
had Adam West in it, right?
No.
Thinner? Is that the one
Thinner
where the guy keeps getting
Stephen
thinner
King,
and thinner?
Yeah, it's a Stephen King story. It had John Burke, who plays RoboCop and RoboCop 3, and he's done other stuff.
I thought it had Adam West in it. Now I've got to look this up.
But the reason I brought Tom Holland's name in connection to The Langoliers that he directed is because in the back of the DVD, I was looking at it the other day, and I was like, that's the first time I've ever seen this. His name as a director is like enormous at the bottom of the credits. It's like Tom Holland. It's like 4 times bigger than all the other letters in the credits. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. I'll take a picture of it and put it on the show notes just for fun.
I'd like to see that.
Yeah. So, if you still want to buy the Volume 1 of Hellraiser Anthology, here's your chance. There's only 4 copies left. Go to Tom Holland's Terror Time, and you can find the soft paperback version, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Too bad that the other ones are sold out. I mean, it's good for their store, but, I would like to see more people be able to get the Hellraiser Anthology. And
maybe they'll get more in.
I looked up Thinner. I must have watched it in an alternate dimension or somehow. I thought that Robert John Burke was Adam West, but it was definitely not. So, okay.
Mandela effect strikes again.
Yeah, right.
So good news for people who have 4 volumes of Imaginer on their shelf, because Imaginer 5 is almost ready to ship.
Yeah. They're Phil and Sarah Stokes got some advanced copies to preview and quality control and stuff to make sure they're okay before they get the rest of them, and they said they'll have shipping news soon. Yeah,
so it's they posted a picture of the cover, and it says paintings from 1993 to 2012, Volume 5, text by Phil and Sarah Stokes.
Yeah, that is really cool.
I'll have to cover on that one. It's one of my favorite covers so far.
It's a mask hanging from a tree branch. It's a mask with some whiskers like a cat. So that is pretty cool. They're really zipping through these volumes.
They are
pretty quickly. So yes, kudos to Phil and Sarah for getting another volume ready.
And this happened really quick. I mean, I think it was a little too quick for us to really report on it on the site. I mean, we just did a Facebook post, but Kino Lorber had a contest where you could get a free replacement slipcase for your Rawhead Rex that was autographed by Clive Barker, and I think they had 9 copies of them. And it was only like one day. They're like, post a picture of your copy of Rawhead Rex, and we'll randomly select 9 winners from the from all of the comments.
I saw your picture, Ryan. That was pretty funny.
Right? I almost put right after that picture that you made with me running away from Rawhead.
Yeah.
But then by the time I got to a computer to do that, it was like my thing would have been so far down. I don't know. I just forget it.
No, that was fun. It's like you holding the DVD, the Blu-ray, and you're like making this funny face. Ah!
Yeah.
So they announced the winners, and the winners were Gary Hill, Stephen Hager, Rob Martinez, Cameron Byer, David Nofire, Dan Savtar, or Satar, Melinda Hathaway Blair, Don Nice, and Ben Clark. Yeah. And actually, some of these were like in my friend list. So
oh, wow.
They may be listeners. So, hey, congratulations, guys, for winning that signed slipcase.
I recognize Melinda Hathaway Blair, right? From I think she talks on the Fifth Dominion.
Occupy Medium.
Yeah, on Occupy Medium. So that was cool. Yeah, I'm glad that some people that we knew got those. That's cool.
Cool.
And someone was asking, how did you guys get Clive Barker to sign this movie? I thought he hated it.
Yeah, I saw that.
No,
yeah, it's funny. I mean, I think he would.
I think they blindfolded Clive and put these in front of him and told him to sign
these.
I've seen him sign Rawhead Rex stuff before. He's very polite about it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's it for news, and we had some cool feedback on Twitter from Matt Lee, and we want to say thank you, Matt Lee. He had said the BarkerCast review episode of Sacrament was an outstanding podcast. A review of the novel, a discussion of Barker publicly coming out, the gay characters in the book, and the gay culture referenced in Barker's novels. I learned a lot about Barker's superb episode. So thank you, Matt Lee. We really appreciate that.
That was awesome. That was great. Yeah. That was a great thing to read because it really makes us feel good about the work that we do. Yep. So thank you very much. He has a website, mattleereviewsblogspot.co.uk.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Cool.
So I'll start checking out your blog, Matt. Thanks for listening to us.
Yeah. Yeah, and then on YouTube we had a couple of comments. One guy, Ross Kemp, said, "Is Clive ever going to do a brand new interview?" And it's like, well, I mean, I think he does them rarely, but once in a while he does interviews. I mean, as far as with us, we're kind of hoping for Texas Frightmare weekend, but we'll see what happens.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Well, he just did one a couple months ago with Phil and Sarah. If you want to, if you have. Maybe this person hasn't seen on the Revelations official Facebook site.
That's true.
Talking about the Imaginer.
Yeah, and there wasn't a lot of context for that. I'm wondering if he meant like with us or,
Oh, okay.
Maybe,
yeah.
Since it was a YouTube comment, he might have been looking for that when he went to our channel.
Yeah, maybe. But yes, I hope that'd be very nice to have an interview with him when we go Frightmare. And
on one of our episodes about the Cabal Cut, I think Jose, it might have been about your discussion of the Cabal Cut, that video you made.
Yeah.
Mondo Macabro Major said he said he really wanted to get a copy of the Cabal Cut, and where could he find one? And I just told him to keep his eyes open because they show up in various places. And he said, "Cheers! I will cut my eyelids off to keep an eye out for a copy."
Well, weren't some copies going to show up at the Tom Holland's Terror Time store?
Yes, I think it. Gosh, I'm trying. Was it like in April or something like that, or late? I can't remember what we heard.
Yeah, well, keep your eyelids off then, and we will announce it when there's more news about more Cabal Cut standard edition copies coming out. Because we don't know, we don't control that anymore. It's out of our hands. It's a mess.
Yeah,
it's a mess out there in terms of like merchandising for Clive Barker now. We don't know what's going to happen, but for now, it's Tom Holland's Terror Time store. Keep visiting it, and more stuff will show up there.
Yeah. And my advice on YouTube, I said, well, the Clive Barker podcast does not endorse cutting your eyelids off or recommend.
Yeah. So. Keep your eyelids, please.
Yeah.
Okay, if you must.
You need them.
Yeah. So
Ryan, you made a really cool, funny video about our fundraiser, right? Before it was over.
Yeah, we had one day left, I wanted to go through the stuff that we still had, left to sell. And I made a parody video of the Watch and Wear offer from Hellraiser. So,
I love when you do that voice, man. God, I love it.
I used to imitate that all the time, but nobody knew what I was talking about.
No wonder you're so good at it. You've been doing it for years.
It is very obscure. It's very obscure.
Yeah.
So that was funny.
Yeah.
You will need arms with this tank top by Clive Barker. Like there's a tank top that we were putting on the Kickstarter and stuff like that.
And it's in our audio feed, but I'd recommend watching the video instead. I think the video makes more sense than just the audio version of it. And I think only 5 people on YouTube watch the audio version compared to the video one, which makes sense. And recently we did an audio commentary for Salome. So if you're subscribed to us, you've heard it already. But that was our, we're going through some of our Kickstarter goals, and that was one of them. We have the Salome audio commentary. And if you're subscribed to our podcast, you probably heard that already. But it was the most recent thing we did, and something from our one of our goals from our Kickstarter. So that's up there. If you haven't seen, if you want to watch Salome with some commentary to kind of explain what's going on, I think that worked out really well in that way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The 8mm film that Clive Barker made when he was like 15.
And there's some really, really good. Jose really was good during that, talking about the anecdotes.
Thanks, guys. It was great doing that with you. Yeah.
Yeah. I actually bought after we were done, I ordered a copy of the Oscar Wilde Salome with the illustration, so it should be hopefully coming in maybe today.
Oh, cool. Awesome. With the Aubrey Beardsley illustration?
Yeah. I ordered it off Amazon.
It's an interesting play, and that's what Clive Barker got inspired to make this short film. So, all right. So what else do we got?
An update from our Kickstarter campaign. So there was this was just something I was thinking about. I remember in real estate, there were 2 ways of thinking. I'm not doing real estate anymore, but it was like you can either farm wide, which means like you're trying to appeal to lots and lots of people, or you can farm deep, where you concentrate on your staunch supporters, kind of thing. So you have a smaller group, but they're more loyal, and you farm deep, which means you concentrate on those people that are good to you. And I think that we're kind of more in that latter category, and despite the fact that I've got, if you go to the website, I've got like a link to every single little place where you can find the podcast, and we try to reach everybody that we can, but honestly, we have a small group of followers that are really, really good to us. In this Kickstarter, it really shows.
Definitely.
We do, yeah.
I even got choked up in the last episode. Yeah.
And maybe in the future we can, at some point, open up a little store where we could sell like T-shirts and stuff like that, and our book. But for now, it's like we have to do it just through the Kickstarter, because we don't have that infrastructure in place yet. But
and I think I'm gonna try to bring some of the things that are left over from our Kickstarter down to Texas. We haven't talked this over yet. We know some of the vendors over there, so we might, if we could. We don't have a table or anything, so we're gonna have to kind of schmooze our way into something. But might bring some stuff down there to try to sell.
Okay.
But and as far as the update, we have. So Kickstarter has cleared up any discrepancies or issues where somebody's credit card was expired or whatever. All of that's done, but they haven't sent the money to us yet. So that's what's holding us back as far as shipping. But as soon as they send the money over, we'll send that stuff out. Hopefully next week. But it's really up to Kickstarter.
Right.
And then on the on the Salome episode, before we got started with the movie, we did thanks and did all the names, and now I know that Lori Markle, her last name is pronounced Bichet. I think I said Bish, but it's Bichet.
Yeah, that's kind of a risky way of pronouncing it. So sorry about that. We mangle names all the time here. It's like especially me.
Yeah.
But hey, coming up next, we have the Magician episode, because I ordered the play scripts from the Clive Barker archive. I ordered The Magician and The History of the Devil, and I thought I could order them a few days ago, and I'd probably get them in time for this, but I didn't. So it was totally on me. My bad. They're coming. They're on their way via Royal Mail from England. And as soon as I have them, I'm going to devour that play script, and it's probably going to be our next episode.
It's really good so far. I've read about half of it. I mean, I haven't finished it yet, but I'll be prepared when we do it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna try to get to it, but with school, I'm having to write a lot of papers and stuff like that. It's been having to really focus in on that, but I'm gonna try to get to it this week. And does it read pretty fast? It's like a play, right?
Yeah, it's like only 80 pages of dialogue, so it goes really fast.
So I could do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we will also have the Forbidden audio commentary that will be coming up in a future date, so look out for that.
Yeah. And this podcast, having no beginning, will have no end. Hey, Ryan's back. Just a quick correction. I had said that in Pigeon and Teresa that angels were going to assassinate the owners of Pigeon and Teresa. And actually, it's kind of the opposite. It was Apotheosis. They were going to make him into either an angel or a saint. So just to be clear, I do realize that Assassination and Apotheosis are not the same. Find the show notes for this episode and join the discussion over at www.clivebarkercast.com, where we have news and links to all the ways you can connect with us. You can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and every other place you can find podcasts. The Clive Barker Podcast is an independent editorial podcast and news blog that is not affiliated with or under contract by Seraphim Inc. This is a labor of love by the fans for the fans.
Thanks for listening.